Hello, my name is Lucia and I want to welcome you to my Italian kitchen. Today I'm going to show you how to make an Italian cookie called Savoiardi, and they are also known as lady fingers. These cookies have a light cake-like consistency. They're a simple cookie with a very long history, dating all the way back to the 1300s. They were named after the House of Savoy, Italy's last monarchs. They are originally from Piemonte, but they also arrived in areas where the Savoys ruled, such as Sardinia and Sicily. In Sardinia, they make more of a flat Savoiardi cookie, and in Sicily, they're usually oval, and in some cities, they are round. In my town of Piana degli Albanesi, they are round, and that's the way my mother made them. And even when we traveled to Piana, we found huge round Savoiardi in bakeries. Okay, let's get started. Let's preheat our oven to 350 degrees. Next, we want to either grease a cookie sheet or line it with parchment paper. And I've got parchment paper here on my cookie sheet, but you could use either one. Now let's go over the ingredients. The amount that I'm going to make today will make about 20 to 24 cookies. You can double the recipe if you want more. So let's start with the flour. You want to use cake flour for this cookie, and the reason being that you want it to be really light, and cake flour does that. We've got a half a cup of sugar, and I've got a half tablespoon of baking powder and 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt in here. We've got 3 eggs, and you want your eggs to be at room temperature. We've got a half a cup of vegetable oil. I'm using coconut oil just because I like it, but you can use any vegetable oil. Also, we're going to have a tablespoon of vanilla extract. Now, let me talk about the confectioner's sugar. Now, this is optional. I personally think that these are sweet enough just with the half a cup of sugar, but if you want more sugar to put over your cookies, you can do that. I'm going to now measure out my dry ingredients, the flour. So I'm spooning out enough for 2 cups of flour. And by the way, I'm going to sift my flour. I just think it comes out lighter that way. There's 1 cup. And now I'm going to do the 2nd cup. And level it off. There we go. And then I'm going to take my baking powder and salt, and I'm also going to sift it in here. Okay, that's ready. Now, this is something interesting that I found with this particular recipe, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to do this. So I'm going to go over here to my food processor. I'm going to put the sugar inside my food processor and just process it for a few seconds. In fact, I'm just going to pulse it. apart. And that should be perfect. Okay. Now, let me take this off. And the reason why you want to do it is because you want your Savoiardi to be nice and light, and this makes it that way. I mean, I guess you could use confectioner sugar, but I think that's just too powdery for this particular recipe. Okay. Now I'm going to take my eggs, the 3 eggs, and I'm going to put them in this bowl, in a bowl, separate bowl. And I'm going to add the sugar. Now I'm going to take my mixer, my handheld mixer, and I'm going to go ahead and start mixing this. And you want to do this for 8 minutes. So I'm going to get started on that. You want to do this for 8 minutes until your eggs are kind of a light yellow color and nice and kind of frothy. Now I just want to talk a little bit about beating the eggs. You'll find that some recipes call for beating the egg yolks and the egg whites separately. To tell you the truth, I tried it both ways, and I found this method that works a lot better, okay? So I've been mixing this for about 7 minutes now, and you can see it's got kind of a light yellow color, and it's getting very thick. And that's the consistency that you want when you're making this. The next thing I'm going to do is add the oil and mix it until it's incorporated, like so. So it looks pretty good. So I'm going to turn off my mixer just for a second. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the vanilla. I'm going to use 1 tablespoon of vanilla to go in this. I personally like vanilla. So that's why I'm using a teaspoon. You can use less if you want. Like I say, I really like vanilla. Okay, so now I'm going to mix this for 30 seconds. Okay. Now the next thing we're going to do is we are going to add the flour, and we're going to add the flour little by little, and then we're going to do this feed it for about 1 to 2 minutes. So I will gradually add the flour. You can see this. So I'm just kind of stirring it in with my mixer. So I'm just going to mix this for about 1 to 2 minutes, as I said. We want it to be nice and smooth by the time we get done with this. I'm going to put up my mixer just a little higher just to get it mixed in. And I am going to scrape the side with a spoon here just to make sure that my flour is all incorporated. And you can see it's starting to look really good. You know, this recipe is really easy. It doesn't take very long. It's a real simple recipe. And so that's the beauty of it. But these cookies are so good. I think you're going to enjoy them. So let me just go ahead and mix for probably another minute or so, maybe a little less than that. And then we're going to do our next part, which we're going to put it into a baking sheet. Now the next step, what I'm going to do, I'm going to fill this bag. It's just a Ziploc bag, and I'm going to use this instead of a pastry bag. You can use a pastry bag, but I tried it the other day and it didn't work too well for me, but I found this worked a little bit better for me. So I'm going to put my batter in to this bag. And by the way, this is really messy. So if you want to do it in a neater way, you can always just use a spoon and spoon it onto your cookie sheet. I'm going to try this because I tried it the other day, and like I said, it turned out a lot better. So I'm going to fill my bag, and then I'm going to, once it's filled, I'm going to cut a little corner, and then I'm going to squeeze it out onto my cookie sheet. Okay, I'm going to close up my Ziploc bag, and I'm going to cut a little corner in it. Just like so. And now I'm going to squeeze it out. And you want to do about, a 3-inch cookie. So it's not going to be perfect, but to tell you the truth, it doesn't need to be. It still tastes good. Okay. Okay, now you can see the Savoiardi are in the cookie sheet and ready to go into the oven. And we'll bake these for about 7 to 8 minutes. All right, I'll set my timer and we'll be back in about 8 minutes. What do I look like? You can see? So it looks like our cookies are ready now, so I'm going to take them out of the oven. And one thing you want to do, even though they look light, don't let that bother you, because the truth is you don't want to overbake them because they'll get too hard, and you want them to be like a cake-like texture. So what you do is you cool it on a rack. So we'll do that and let them cool for now, and then we'll come back once they cool and I'll show you what to do next. Now that my Savoiardi have cooled, I just want to give you a little idea. These make really good gifts. I found these boxes at Michael's, and I put like a doily inside, and then I just layer the Savoiardi in here, and that way you can give them for Christmas or any occasion really. And they just make really nice gifts. You can close it up and put a bow or ribbon on this to make it look festive. And there you go. You have a nice gift. Come on over here, Dave. This is my husband, the cameraman. I want to thank him for helping me out with making Savoiardi today. And so now, from our home to yours,
we want to wish you a Merry Christmas and Buon Natale.
And Buon Natale a tutti. Grazie. Take one. That's what they're for. They go fast.